I am almost 30. My biological clock is ticking. I live with my parents and already own over 5 cats. It's an interesting story because originally I had 25 cats when I lived somewhere else. Now I know what you're thinking. Just 25 cats? Yeah, I live next door to someone who works at the animal shelter. That I ended up with some of the overflow from the shelter and cats that people didn't want. Instead of doing the more responsible thing earlier on, I just acquired more and more and more. Now, I don't know if I'm really comfortable telling you how many cats I have now, but it is not 25. It is less than half of that. But I'm basically a childless cat lady at 29, and this is something that I only recently started thinking about. Like, when I was getting the cats, I wasn't really thinking, oh, you are becoming a cat lady. I just woke up one day and I was a cat lady. There's a horrible stigma attached to cat lady. It's like, oh, you live alone, you never had a successful relationship, and you're probably crazy. That's not all entirely untrue. I don't have kids because I don't like kids. And I think that you should like children before you go on to procreate. Like, I've never just thought, oh, you know, this is my dream to give up my life and raise a child for 18 years and then suffer continuously even after those 18 years, worrying about how that child is going to function in the world and was I a good parent and things like that. I've always thought it was because I was selfish, and I'm probably right, but I don't like them. I don't like, even like babies are okay. I'll admit there were a few kids that I like, but I'm really picky. And when I say kids, I mean babies. Like, once they get past age 4, I'm sort of not interested anymore, because then they start to talk and kind of be a person, and I'm an introverted person and I don't like people. So whenever kids quit becoming babies and become people, then I just immediately don't like them. There were a few babies. I can think of 4, girls and boys, and I thought, oh, you know, this might be fun. But then after a couple of hours, I am glad to come home, be by myself with my cats, and go to sleep. It is something that I've been thinking about more recently, because if I decide that I want to have kids 10 years from now, or even 5 years from now, it's going to be a lot more difficult to get pregnant, I guess. I don't know anything about children. You give me a baby, and it's like giving me the mysteries of the universe. And I really think kids can sense that I don't understand them, because whenever I would hold a baby, or when someone would show me their baby at church, or even show me a picture, people want to show me pictures of their kids like I'm interested, and I'm like, yeah. But anyway, I'll be holding a baby, or even looking at one, and it's just like, it's looking at me, not smiling at all, not giggling, not cooing, not being an adorable baby. It's like it sees into the darkness. There's just something about the way that a child looks at you with this innocence, but also with this understanding, or something that maybe you lose when you get older, where it's like they just know your soul. And there are very few cute babies, in my opinion. Those make me think, oh, you know what? Maybe I'll want one of these in 5 years, and then won't be able to have one because my uterus will be dried up and useless. For the child years into the teen years, even into my early adult years, I wanted to direct and write the movies that I directed. But just gradually I realized how utterly disgusting Hollywood is, and how everybody sells out and everyone is liberal and evil. I'm not conflating those two things. They're one in my eyes. Maybe I shouldn't say that. I'm just 100% disenchanted with Hollywood. And so I've always had my writing. In a movie, you can just sort of point a camera here or there and show what's going on, and in a story you have to tell everything, and I have a lot of trouble translating that, and I am ashamed to say that I started writing with erotica. I just like to call them erotica because it kind of makes them sound more fancy. They were sex stories, they were filth. And I didn't know all that much about sex when I started writing them, so a lot of them are horrible and inaccurate, and I continue to write them, but I have moved on to more serious, kind of like credible writing, like vampire stories and fantasy. I am working on a thriller though, a romance thriller, and it's probably the most serious story that I've ever, the most legitimate story that I have ever tried to write, and nothing like anything that I used to write. This is like scary, but it's not scary like ghosts jumping out of the bushes. Or ghosts. Do ghosts jump out of bushes? That's weird. Ghosts don't jump out of bushes. I don't know what I'm talking about. It's like mystery and killers and suspense, and then a little bit of romance thrown in there, which my romance has always been over-the-top high school drama kind of romance, and I'm trying to get away from that. And I've recently started writing what I call drabbles. I don't know if that's the official term for them, but they're like, I've also heard them called flash fiction. They're really, really short. They're like a page or two long, and I kind of write those in between writing the novel that I'm working on, but I write those in between, and a lot of times those are just fluff. They're just snuggle fantasies of mine because, you know, I am living in my parents' house with my cats, and every once in a while I do wish that I was snuggling up to some seriously hot dude. That translates into these short stories that I write. One minute I'll be writing a snuggle fantasy, and then the next minute I'll be like taking that same guy that's in the snuggle fantasy and I'll be like stringing him up and like having him I don't want to say. I'll just have him strung up and maybe something sexual will be happening to him, or maybe something horrible will be happening to him, like he's being tortured by a madman. For the better part of these 29 years, I had a solid plan. I was going to be a writer and a director, and I was going to be out of the house by 22 and famous before that, rich beyond my wildest dreams, and that's not exactly the way my life turned out. Oftentimes when I think about kids or a husband or a significant other, I think, would I rather have that kind of a normal life, the sort of life that I always made fun of and spent years running away from, saying that I was going to be in film and TV? Or do I want to be like a best-selling author? Most days when I wake up, I want to be a best-selling author, or not even a best-selling author, just an author, just with a published work. My dreams have gone from being way, way out there to being a little bit more manageable, so I'm in transition, and that is complicated for someone like me who suffers from depression and is kind of coming out of a difficult situation to find that I don't want the same things that I wanted when I was younger, and the things that I do want, I don't even know if I do really want them. So come with me on this journey of self-discovery. Thanks for watching, and until next time, bye!